All right, welcome to the deep dive. Our mission here is, well, it's always the same. We take the research, the sources you trust, and we try to pull out the most important insights.
We're really looking for that operating manual, the hidden structure that makes a complex topic finally click.
And today we are tackling a linguistic powerhouse. I mean, it's disguised as just a simple four-letter word.
Oh, absolutely.
We're diving into the mechanics of the word ben. Ben.
It's everywhere.
It is. It's totally unavoidable. And yet, for so many people, native speakers included, it's this constant source of uncertainty. We just sort of hope we're using it correctly.
Well, that uncertainty is there for a reason. Been is foundational. It's the past participle of to be.
Right.
So when you use it, you're immediately dealing with some of the most complex ideas in English grammar. We're talking perfect tenses, the passive voice.
So getting it wrong isn't just awkward.
No, not at all. You can fundamentally change the timing and the whole meaning of your sentence.
But this is where our sources for this deep dive really provide some amazing clarity. They just cut through all that noise. And they offer this really definitive, actionable framework. They identify exactly 8 essential uses of been.
And that number 8, that's such a gift for you, the learner. I mean, instead of this boundless, fuzzy grammar problem, you suddenly have a finite list.
It's a conquerable number.
It is. You know that if you could just master these 8 specific rules, you've basically conquered the word.
So that's our goal today. We're going to illustrate why these categories are so significant, break down the types of work been is actually doing,
and hopefully move everyone beyond that. Does this sound right? Test.
Exactly. Let's get into the structures.
Let's do it.
So before we jump into the actual examples, let's stick with that idea for a second. The structural advantage. We've said that knowing there are 8 uses makes the whole thing feel conquerable. It puts a boundary on it.
It does, and it respects your time, right? You know, the scope. But I think what's more important than the number 8 itself is what these 8 uses represent.
Oh, okay.
These are not obscure, academic points.
Mm-hmm.
Our source calls them essential for a reason. They are the absolute bedrock structures for high-level communication.
For things like duration, completion, that sort of thing.
Precisely. Duration, completion, the state of something. And if you look at them, they really fall into 2 giant categories.
The perfect tenses and the passive voice.
That's it. And that is the critical distinction to make. In the perfect tenses, been is usually talking about a state or, how long an activity has been going on.
And in the passive voice.
And the passive voice, been is describing the state of an object that has had something done to it.
Okay, so let's start with the perfect tenses. I think our source lists 4 main uses under that umbrella. This is where a lot of the errors happen.
Right, this is a huge source of error, yeah.
So let's begin with the present perfect continuous. This feels like one of the most useful of the 8. We use it to talk about duration all the time.
All the time. And here, Ben has a very specific job. It's the structural link.
Mm-hmm.
It connects the auxiliary verb so, have or has, to the main verb with ing at the end.
So the structure is subject plus have a has plus been plus the verbing.
You got it. And what that tells you is critical.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you the action started in the past and is either still happening or just recently stopped.
Can you give us a really clear example?
Sure. Think about this sentence. I have been waiting for the call since 9 o'clock.
Okay.
That little word been establishes this unbroken line of waiting. It started at 9 and it's continuing right up to this very moment.
Right, because if you just said, I have waited for the call, that's different.
Totally different. That implies the waiting is over, it's complete. The been is what tells you it's still going on, or the duration itself is the whole point.
That's fascinating. The simple inclusion of been just changes everything.
It does. Now let's contrast that with another one of the 8 uses, the past perfect simple.
Ah, this is the one that tends to trip people up. It uses had.
Yes. The structure here is subject plus had plus been, and then usually an adjective or a phrase. This use of been is all about sequencing.
Sequencing two events that both happened in the past.
Exactly. It describes a state that existed before another past action took place. It's pure chronological signaling.
Okay, so what would an example look like?
How about she felt confident because she had been a successful project manager at her previous company.
Ah, I see.
The had been tells you that her being a project manager happened and was completed before she felt confident in the story we're telling now.
If you just said she was a project manager, you lose that clear sequence.
You lose it completely. It just becomes two separate facts. The had been is what links them in time. So you can already see the framework clarifying things.
Yeah, totally. Use one is about ongoing duration connected to right now. Use two is about a completed state that happened before another past action. It's all about time linkage.
It is. And in things like, you know, technical writing or historical accounts, that kind of precision is everything. You need that structural integrity.
Okay, let's switch gears to the other major category in our list of 8, the passive voice.
Right.
This is where been takes on a completely different job. It's not about duration anymore.
No. Now it's about signaling the recipient of an action. And this is where a lot of confusion can happen.
I can see that. So in the passive voice, been is connecting have or has to the main verb's past participle form.
Exactly. And the whole point of that is to shift the emphasis of the sentence.
So if I say, the team built the report, that's active. The focus is on the team.
Correct. But if we use one of the passive structures, we flip it. The report has been built by the team.
Okay, so now the focus is on the report.
The focus is entirely on the state of the report. It's done. The has been structure tells us that its state of completion is relevant right now.
And using the passive voice isn't always bad grammar, right? Especially in a professional setting.
Not at all. It serves a very specific purpose. You use it when you want to highlight the result, or maybe when the person who did the action is unknown or just irrelevant.
It's like in scientific papers or reports.
That's its most common home. It's arguably the most formal and frequent structure for confirming a status. You know, the experiment has been approved, the funding has been secured.
So if I'm trying to visualize this, in the perfect continuous, been is like a line showing time passing. I have been running.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But in the passive perfect, been is more like a stamp. It's indicating a status that's been applied. The form has been signed.
That is a perfect visualization of the functional difference.
Yeah.
And it really highlights why being intentional is so important.
Which brings us to another critical category among the 8 uses, using been with modal verbs.
Ah, yes. The hypotheticals.
The should have beens and the could have beens.
Exactly. This is where been helps us talk about possibility or necessity or even regret about something in the past. It accounts for several more of our 8 functions.
And here, been is what lets us talk about an unreal past, right? Something that didn't happen but could have.
Precisely. It allows us to connect a past event to a present deduction or feeling.
Give us an example where adding been just totally shifts the meaning into that critical space.
Okay, if you say, I should go to the meeting, that's about a present or future obligation. Simple.
Right.
But if you add been and use that perfect structure, I should have been at the meeting, the entire sentence is now about past regret.
It's an obligation that wasn't met.
Exactly. The word been makes the whole statement retrospective. It's conditional. It's about what didn't happen.
And that function is so valuable. I mean, think about giving feedback or a performance review. You need that precision to say something like, the standard could have been higher.
Absolutely. And think about what happens if you take it out. I should have at the meeting. The whole sentence just collapses.
It makes no sense.
Been is the linguistic glue here. It holds the modal, the auxiliary have, and the implied past state together logically. This is the difference between writing with clarity and writing with, frustrating ambiguity.
So this is where it gets really interesting for you, the learner. Understanding these 8 roles, it's more powerful than just correcting a mistake after you've made it.
It gives you predictive power.
Yes.
Once you know what you're trying to say, I need to express duration, you automatically know the syntax you need.
You know you need to have been plus ing.
Exactly. Or if you realize you need to express some kind of past hypothetical, you need the modal plus Evan structure.
It turns grammar from this vague guesswork into a clear toolkit. You just select the right tool for the job.
And being that intentional is how you avoid those common errors in the first place. The fact that our source isolates 8 functions tells you these are the 8 primary places where confusion happens.
So if we pull back a little bit and connect all this detail to the bigger picture of communication, this whole deep dive just highlights that even the words we barely think about are these incredibly complex machines.
They are. And the source material really emphasizes that the best way to learn advanced structures is to have them, structured. It's not about memorizing words, it's about mastering grammatical jobs.
And when you're dealing with complex information contracts, scientific papers, whatever, getting those time frames and states right is absolutely critical.
It is. A misplaced been can completely derail your understanding of who did what and when.
So this all comes down to application.
It does. It's fascinating how these 8 little uses form the foundation of so much academic and professional English. If you can't use been correctly in its 8 different roles, you simply can't articulate complex ideas about time clearly.
And in any setting where precision matters, clarity is credibility.
That's it. Mastery of these 8 roles means your structural language is as strong as your core ideas. You move from that defensive hope of, I think I used that word right.
Yeah.
To the authoritative position of, I know exactly which of the 8 structures I am using to convey this specific meaning. That shift right there, that's linguistic mastery.
So let's just recap the journey we've been on. We started with this one humble, often confusing word, been.
Hmm.
And thanks to our sources, we found this specific structured complexity hiding underneath those 8 essential uses.
We've established that knowing the scope, that there are only 8 main categories, gives you a goal you can actually achieve.
And we've highlighted the intention that these uses are all about defining durations, sequence results, and these hypothetical states that are just crucial for high stakes communication.
The mission was to give you clear, actionable knowledge, to turn a frustrating bit of grammar into a well organized toolkit.
And now you know exactly which tools you have at your disposal.
So, this raises an important final question for you to consider. Since Ben is inseparable from the way we link past events to our current reality, how does knowing its 8 distinct grammatical jobs fundamentally change how you will build sentences about the past?
That's a great question.
The next time you go to write that word, think about it. Which of the 8 frameworks are you applying and why?
Keep digging, keep learning, and thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.